Jack Reacher followed Rambo into the house to the living room, filled with cushioned chairs and a couch. Both shirtless and soaked with a mixture of sweat and water from the large bucket from outside of the ranch. All that chopping woodwork really drained Reacher's muscles. He began to use the range of motion technique on his upper body to ease the aching. Rambo, on the other hand, walked up to the kitchen. "Beer?" Rambo asked. "Absolutely," Reacher replied. Rambo takes 2 cold metal lights out of the refrigerator, hands one over to Reacher, rubs the other around his face for relief from the hard work, and falls on the cushioned chair. Reacher is still standing. He twists off the cap from his beer and takes a sip. After a few seconds, he sits down on another cushioned chair. Rambo is sitting on the right side of him, sipping his beer. Reacher glances at Rambo's scars and scopes them out. The way they were left sculpted on his chest made Reacher think that, geez, he's got it worse than me. Reacher began to think of the stitched scar Rambo had on his right arm and burnt slash scar on the left side of his face. Reacher slowly began to analyze in his head that he and Rambo had more in common than just scars. "Nice scar," Reacher said. "Thanks," Rambo replied. Reacher takes another slug from his beer while still locking eyes with Rambo's scars, then turns around and lays his head back, closing his eyes to relax, which is when Rambo begins to notice and analyze Reacher's own physical history of pain on his body. "You don't look so bad yourself there, kid." Rambo complimenting Reacher's scars. Reacher quickly replies, opening his eyes, raising his head up back to Rambo, then looks down at his own scars. "Oh yeah, not worse like yours, but it's a work of art," Reacher chuckles. Rambo takes another sip while locking onto Reacher's chest scar. "That one on your chest looks worse to me," Rambo points out. Reacher looks down at his chest at his gunshot scar. "Oh yeah, got it from a .38 round." Rambo takes another shot of beer while locking at another one of Reacher's scars. "The one near the abdomen?" Rambo points out again. Reacher looks down again, massaging his shrapnel scar, then takes himself back to memory lane of what went down in Lebanon. Reacher snaps out of it and is back in the present time. Takes a 5-minute silence. "I wasn't thinking," Reacher answered. His answer stuns Rambo's head and took him back to memory lane as well. Back to where it all went down in the town of Hope, with Sheriff Teasel, the deputies, and the National Guard. His violent physical actions that occurred at that time were triggered all because of his lack of inner peace, self-control, and fully circled. Rambo deeply understood what Reacher was talking about. Rambo as well snapped out of it and returned to the present, but still looked down at the floor before adding to Reacher's answer. "Neither did I," Rambo finally added. Reacher reacts to Rambo's comment and curiosity, looking back at him once more. After a few seconds, that curiosity went away. But Reacher still had a question in mind. "So how long were you in Nam?" Reacher asked. Rambo looks back up at Reacher, calmly surprised. Silent for 5 seconds until replying, "What made you think I was in the war?" As always, and like before, Reacher analyzes his answer to Rambo step by step. "Well, according to that stitched scar on your right arm, the way it's all stitched up looked like it was self-made, like how the Green Berets were trained to do. While I was walking up the long trail entrance to your ranch, looking at the way you handled splitting that wood in half with one chop of the axe, I figured whether you're a natural or had a special skill from a long-term history of experience. The tree out there with the bullseye you painted on it, and the way you took the knife and hit the middle dot with the throw of one arm, definitely a special skill. Now, going on to the infamous work of art of scars on your chest, The way how the cuts are angled look like a stage of torture. The cut marks up the scars. No other knife can do that but a combat knife, especially the ones that the Viet Cong used in the war. I almost forgot about the one on the left side of your face. That slash of red tissue. Looked like someone took a combat knife like the ones in your collection, heated up the tip edge of it, and gently slashed your face. Rambo just sat there after Reacher narrowed it down. After 5 seconds of a cold stare, he reacted with a small smirk with a nod in the emotion that he was impressed by Reacher's own special mental skill. Rambo laid back on his chair with eyes still locked on Reacher. I see you got brains behind the brawn, Rambo impressively responds, turning back away, taking another shot of his beer. Yeah, trust me, I've had a shitload of moments, Reacher added. I always believed that the mind is the best weapon, Rambo said. Likewise, Reacher added. Reacher's words hit Rambo right in the heart. He quickly turns his head back to Reacher, calmly surprised. He is even more impressed. After another cold stare, he gives Reacher another quick smirk and looks back down. After all he went through since the war, Rambo never met anyone that was similar to him quite like Reacher. Not since all the men and friends he lost in his Baker team, like Danforth, Westmore, Bronson, Barry, and etc. In his head, Rambo questioned himself whether to add Reacher to the names of the band of brothers he lost. There's one thing I forgot to add, Reacher announced. Rambo looks back up, unexpected to hear what would come out of Reacher's mouth this time. During my time while stationed, I overheard stories of a traumatized Vietnam vet who caused a ruckus down in this small town called Hope. A name similar to a small town I once passed through once. Especially the story of that same traumatized vet that chose to rescue leftover POWs that were found alive, which were talked about on the 6 o'clock news. Rescued from the Vietnamese that joined forces with the Russians during the Cold War. We didn't know who sprung them at the time, but your name was tossed around a lot like a modern-day urban legend. Rambo continues to lock eyes with Reacher, and his stare gets even colder. Despite it, you're not mentioned publicly. For guys like me down in the bases stationed, you become like inspiration to us men in combat. As a matter of fact, you're bigger than inspiration. You become a hero. I'm still questioning myself whether or not I can call you mine. During his time with Reacher, Rambo's stare is the coldest it's ever been. This time he does not look impressed. Still sitting, Rambo leans head forward at Reacher. I'm no fucking hero, Rambo replies, slowly growing anger. I was just a guy who was trying to survive and did what we all thought was right at the time, which was to fight for my country. But when I came back, my country shit on me for it. Reacher, still locking eyes with Rambo, sits still with a calm, plain face. How about you, Jack Reacher? Are you a hero? Reacher stares still, plain and calm, but Rambo's words this time hits him right in the heart. Rambo, still waiting for an answer, decides he doesn't give a fuck anymore about Reacher's answer by slowly picking himself off the chair with beer in hand, walking out of the living room to the bedroom. Reacher just sat there, still calm and plain. Like always, Reacher said nothing.